So today we're reviewing
Flight Risk.
Psycho killer.
So we are getting back to the movie reviews, and we're getting back to our reused content here that we're copying for someone else, apparently, with these movie reviews. No matter what, we're continuing these movie reviews, and I'm trying to catch up with a lot of movie reviews, because this year so far, I've seen 4 or 5 movies. I've only done a couple reviews. We're trying to get back into it and catch up, so we can actually have a top 5 best and worst movie reviews. But anyways, let's get into it. Today we're reviewing Flight Risk, which was released in January of this year, starring Mark Wahlberg, Michelle Dockery, and another name I can't remember. But we saw this movie in January. It's been a while, but what were your initial thoughts of Flight Risk?
Well, I was excited to see it. Mark Wahlberg's one of my favorite actors, and just has a lot of different movies that I really enjoy, and I think he's done a good job. So this one, my initial thoughts were, again, I was excited to see it, but quite honestly disappointed in the movie itself.
Yeah, my initial thoughts for this movie, this is a bad movie. I did not like this at all. This movie was an hour and a half long, and it felt like it was 5 hours. I remember us sitting there, and I was thinking, I know this movie's only an hour and a half, but it dragged so much. I seriously thought this movie was 5 hours. That's how long it dragged. And as you can hear, our dog choking in the background here. Marley, can you calm down?
Mar.
But this movie, I was excited for. It actually looked very interesting from the trailers, and I was like, man, this could actually be a good movie. And it's starring Mark Wahlberg, big actor. I mean, I like him in basically every movie he's in. Had another big actor in there as well. But this movie was just a disaster. But I guess let's start out with our positives for the movie, if there are any positives.
Not really. I mean, again, it was because movies are so few and far between, it seems like anymore. We were excited to go, so it was good to get to the theater. And I think the movie had a decent premise or idea of what they wanted to do, concept, but it just did not come through at all. And it, like Kenny said, it was a shorter movie that seemed longer. Mark Wahlberg played a different type of part to me that I didn't appreciate.
Psychotic role.
Yeah, and it just didn't work. So I'm not saying he can't, play a role like that. I'm sure he can, but he's always been one of my favorites as far as the good guy. So.
Yeah, this movie, positive-wise, the concept. It was an interesting concept. Come here, you stinking piece of poop.
Just sit.
Stay. It was an interesting concept. That's probably the only positive in this movie, because it's pretty much everything is a mess. This is not a good movie. I seriously don't think there's a single positive. Other than, I can't find a positive. But why don't we go into our negatives with this movie?
Yeah, negative-wise, it just drug. Did not seem to have a good start. And as it kept going, it just did not really go anywhere other than in a plane. Basically most of the movie was in a plane on a certain trip that they were on. And again, it just, Mark Wahlberg's part to me just did not fit him. And again, I really enjoy his movies. He's one of my favorite actors, and he's got several movies that I love. So just disappointing, did not come through, and from beginning, middle to end, it just wasn't good.
Yeah, negatives. It was super boring. Like I said, it felt like it was 5 hours. It was only an hour and a half, so that's not a good sign. The acting was just bad. This role for the main actors in this movie were just not good. They did not do a good job. It was not an interesting plot. You're stuck in this plane for most of the movie. There's really nowhere to go, and it's just nothing happens. I mean, you're kind of just sitting there. There's really stupid character decisions from the very start. Really boring, bad acting. Just this role for Mark Wahlberg does not work. This psychotic role, it just he's in really good movies. Well, maybe I have to review one after this that he's good in, because most of them he is. But it just was not a good role for him, and just really boring movie overall, and just not much. There's not much to salvage here. But why don't we go into our final thoughts and score?
Yeah, final thoughts. Again, I think even Mel Gibson was the director.
He was a producer, I think. He might have been the director, yeah.
And Mel Gibson's one of my favorites. And I think I actually saw an interview where Mel Gibson even kind of admitted, he said, we just kind of threw this movie together. They're looking to put something out there to entertain people because it's been so tough on the movies since COVID to come back around to where they're producing at the same level that they were, in my opinion. You still get a good movie here and there. I can't remember the last great movie I've
Well,
seen.
there's been plenty of good movies after COVID. You can't blame it on that.
No, there's good movies, but not at the same volume of what it used to be. It seemed like there used to be movies coming out all the time. So yes, there has been good movies. This one was not one of them. But between Mel Gibson and Mark Wahlberg, you would have thought that you would have had a better movie.
Yeah, those two you would have thought.
But final thoughts, again, not a good movie, disappointing. And I'm going to go ahead and give it a 3.
3 out of 10. Yeah, so my score is pretty simple. It's a 1 out of 10. I'll think about movies and I'll think 5 is average, and then if there's positives, if there's a good fight scene, an interesting scene there, a cool concept, then I might bump it up a couple points, but I can't find any positives. So 1 is the lowest. It's the bar. I don't like ripping movies just for no reason. Like, this movie was just extremely boring. I felt like I was going to fall asleep. And it was only an hour and a half, which is just shocking. And it just did not work. I was almost tempted to walk out of this movie. If I wasn't falling asleep, I would have walked out. And yeah, it's a 1 out of 10, unfortunately. So definitely not a good start to the year with movies. But yeah, not a good movie. 1 out of 10 for me. Very disappointing. And yeah, not a great start. But I did see some other movies after that we're going to be getting into that I did like significantly more than this. Thank you for watching. Expect more movie reviews coming soon. If YouTube doesn't take down my channel before then, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment it down below that this is original content for YouTube to see. And we will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.
Psycho killer.